Hey Indians, Jim Fuel here, Superintendent at Mississinewa. Welcome to episode 7 of Mississinewa Matters. Today is February, I believe, 18th. So February 18th. Thank you for everybody that was able to participate in our Facebook Live session last night for our board meeting. And just a reminder, we're going to continue to hold those really for the foreseeable future from 7:15 to 8 p.m. After every board meeting. That's the first Monday and third Monday of every month. I know there were some things about the stars and having to make comments, so we're working internally on that to figure out what we need to do to be able to adjust that in the future. Facebook Live's a little bit over my head. I guess you can monetize Facebook Live to make money off of it, so that's beyond me and my scope of things. So we're going to make this document. It's not on the website yet, but it will be today, along with another one. But this is a referendum project priority list. And we've ranked them really A through E based upon the facility studies we've had done, staff input, board input, and strategic planning committee input. Now, this could adjust as we continue to gather over the next couple of weeks community input through the surveys. But as of right now, this is how the document still stands. Understand that this is a very fluid document. We're continuing to gather community input. This is by no means a final document or really even a final dollar amount. We're continuing to make adjustments along the way, but really wanted to go through this with you. So first, I'm going to skip down. We have a couple options at the top, but I'm going to go here on the priority list document. Everything that we've identified, again, A through E, highest priority being A, lowest priority being E, it is listed on here with an estimate amount from Tecton early in this project. So one thing to note is there is inflationary construction numbers that go in that will impact districts the longer you wait. Right now, it's roughly a 5.5% increase per year of construction inflation dollars. So that's something that Tecton does take into consideration with this as well. And then also, we obviously haven't had the in-depth studies to know what's going to be in there. So we shoot the numbers a little bit high at this point in time. So you'll see the A priorities through there, budget items, and I'm not going to go through all of these. You guys can read these on your own. Really, for an $87 million referendum, everything above the red line could be included in that. Anything below the red line, it would not be in that current budget. So I scroll down to the bottom of this sheet. Total hard cost for everything listed on here is $80,600,000. In order to do an $87 million referendum, your hard cost would have to be under about $69 million. What soft costs are, you think about bond issuance, architect fees, any types of furniture or materials you're going to put inside the building. Those are soft costs. So we have to have a line item for soft costs there, typically right around 20 to 22% of your hard cost project would be considered in your soft costs. So overall, do everything on this list, it would actually have to be about a $98 million referendum. Which again, we're not proposing that. We wanted to show 87 was one that we wanted to show, at least initially to start with. I'm going to scroll back to the top of this document. We talked last night with the board before and after our Facebook Live session to really try to hone in on 2 or 3 options for the community outside of the $87 million option. So I want to walk through these a little bit for you. And again, these are not final. These are a couple options we are considering proposing to the community to take into consideration. We're going to have community meetings coming up. I've been in contact with Nick Baker to set up some community sessions where we're going to have ones more geared towards business owners. The plan is to hold those on Tuesdays at Hans Hall. And then Thursday, starting next week at Hans Hall for general taxpayers, so non-business owners. So we're going to try to structure that. We'll hopefully have some more information either later today or tomorrow. We're also going to work on getting flyers once we get those dates and times set to try to get those out later this week or early next week to mail to the entire tax base here. So A1 priority list, you'll see there we have grades 6 through 8 addition at the high school is $23.5 million. Renovations for grades 6 through 8 at the high school, that would include like cafeteria, making a cafeteria out of existing square footage at the high school is about $2.7 million. Middle school gym, 14.8, 500 seat auditorium would be about 10 million. So your total hard cost would be around $51 million there. Total estimated soft cost would be around 11 million for a total referendum dollar amount for that type of project scope of about $62 million. Then if we look to scale back, this is kind of really the minimum in order to move grades 6 through 8 to the high school without looking at some of those additional needs or wants that's been listed on the document below that I went through with you, that A through E document. This is basically everything from the list above minus the auditorium. So you'll see the total hard cost is right around 41 million. Soft cost, that's actually wrong right there, but we'll get that updated. Soft cost would actually be right around 9 million. I need to adjust that on there. I just copied the one from above. So I'll get that adjusted there, but total project cost would be about 50 million for that. So that would be a $50 million referendum would get this project list completed. So that's really two options that we're looking at. We're open to some other ideas and alternatives, but as of right now, those are two options that we're showing. And I want you guys to be able to have that. And again, fluid document, we're going to keep on updating. Next thing I want to do is jump over to the $26 million priority list. And again, this is not part of the referendum. This is independent of the referendum. This is what we have the current bonding capacity to be able to do. We're working on, and again, this is a fluid document as well. We're working on scaling back what we need to do at our elementaries so that we can take some required items like a high school roof that needs to be replaced and move it over into this project. So you'll see we've listed Westview roofing, 1.1 million, Northview 4 classroom addition, 2.3 million. Northview playground improvements, 400,000. Northview admin office remodel, in addition, 2 million. Westview 4 classroom addition, 2.3. And these are ranked at this point in time. These are ranked in priority. So highest priority is at the top, lowest priority is at the bottom. And this is based upon staff input, strategic planning input. Ideally, we would like to have a bigger classroom addition at the elementaries to allow for some more flexibility with our specials programs, but we also have to be cognizant of our taxpayers, and if a referendum wouldn't pass, we need to make sure that we're checking some things off the list that we have to get done at the high school no matter what. So what you'll notice on this document, I have the red line here. Anything below the red line would not currently fit into this budget. So high school restroom renovations, high school locker room renovations, resurfaced tennis courts, high school band choir room renovations, high school art room. Those are all below the red line and beyond the 26 million. So right now we're about 1.7 million over budget. Now the hope would be as we get some good bids, we're going to continue to look at this list. How can we take some items down, cut the cost on some items to be able to capture some more of these projects below the red line. And then the other hope is that during the bidding process, we're going to have favorable bids that come in that's going to allow us to gain some wins along the way to add in some of these additional projects. That's the hope in the process. Again, a very fluid process. Once we start looking at contingency dollars, owner contingency, project manager contingency, interest earned on the project, all of that, we are hopeful that we can grab a couple of items from here as well. So these two documents will be available on the website later today, the strategic planning website. So feel free to look at those as these continue to evolve and update through our meetings with community members, more input from our project managers, and really taking a hard look at the overall project budget. We are hopeful that we're going to be able to get more items into this $26 million bond project for us going forward. Timeline for this project would start about a year from now, approximately. So the spring of 2026, we will be on track to start a lot of this work into the summer of 2026, and probably really be going out to bid in January, February timeframe a year from now. So just an idea of that for you. I'm going to go back to our referendum scope list. But right here, so two options we come up with right now: $62 million referendum for all those items, and a $50 million referendum. Before I post this, I will adjust this number because that's not correct. That's right around 9 million is where that should be. So I'll get that updated and fixed. Again, there's the priority list with the dollar amounts tied to each item. And again, we want the input. I'm actually going to be out at McDonald's Thursday of this week, the February 20th, to meet with the group that's out there at 8 a.m. I am willing to come meet with you one-on-one. You can come to me. I can come to any sort of small group that meets, answer questions, and provide you any sort of feedback that you need, and then take your feedback back with me as well. So again, just remember, these are not final. We need community input. My thought process right now is once we lock in the big community night it's going to be somewhere between March 18th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, somewhere around there. Once we lock that date in, we'll get that advertised. We're hoping to hold it at the Performing Arts Center in Gas City. We would like to be able to have 3 potential project options for the community to take an informal vote on, so that we can have some good sample data from a sample population from the community on what's going to be most palatable to the community. And based upon that, I'll take that data back to the school board, review it, and then the school board make a final determination on what dollar amount and project scope would be on a referendum ballot for the fall of 2025 if legislation doesn't change and we can put it on the fall 2025 ballots. So that's going to be an informal vote. We'll do a digital vote, and those that aren't able to do a digital vote at that meeting, we would have paper copies for you to be able to fill that out as well. And that's just going to give us good data to be able to use on what, from a consensus from the entire community, is going to be most palatable to the community. So between now and then, we may adjust those 2, 3, 4 options that we're going to present in March. But as of right now, we will at least have 3 options for the community to look at during that time, and offer some informal voting on that input. And again, the community is going to have the final say. Whenever this does hit a referendum vote, the community will have the final say on whether it goes or doesn't go ultimately. So any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Cell phone 765-475-6412. Definitely willing to meet with anybody, answer questions one-on-one or small group settings. And please feel free to reach out at any point in time. We are also working on updating tax calculators, so we'll have those hopefully readily available when prior to that March 18th-ish timeframe meeting, for the community to be able to plug in their property taxes and see let's say a $50 million project is going to increase my taxes X amount of dollars, a $60 million project is going to increase X amount of dollars, and so on and so forth. So whatever those project amounts are, the plan is to have tax calculators available for each of those amounts. We're still working on strategic ways to look at the operating referendum. Are there ways that we can reduce that potentially, or not have to have that? Again, just looking at all options, open to any sort of conversation with anybody on strategic ideas on how we can ease the tax burden on the community. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, this will be on the website later today. Feel free to share it around. And as we continue to update these documents, we will get them updated on the spreadsheet as well. And I'm sure I'll make additional videos as we update them to get that information out there. So hope everybody stays warm this week. It's a little chilly, and stay warm, stay safe, and go Indians.